all of these beautiful little ball pythons are called lightning pieds. That one buried back there, you can't see her. Here's one with her little snoot just hanging out there. Now, a lightning pied is a specific morph combo. And I want to read a little excerpt here from a post from March 31st, 2015 from Markus Jayne Ball Pythons. There's only one true lightning pied. I would like to clarify something. The lightning pied was originally produced at Markus Jayne Ball Pythons in 2008. Since then, we have proven our line of Xanthic not to be compatible with the other two popular lines of Xanthic, VPI and Snake Keeper, or also known as TSK. There's only one true lightning piebald, and they are Piebald Axanthics that contain the Markus Jayne line of Xanthic. So, what makes a lightning pied? A lightning pied can only be made one way. That is with the Piebald gene in the Markus Jayne or MJ line of Xanthic. It is a specific morph combo given to that combination of that Xanthic line and Piebald by the person that created the MJ or found the MJ line of Xanthic, which is Mark Mandic from Markus Jayne Reptiles, Ball Pythons, which is also MJ. So, there has been a lot of misinformation and confusion going around about this combo for quite a few years. Now, I've been in this project, so disclaimer: I'm invested heavily in the MJ Xanthic Pied, the Lightning Pied project. I bought into it back in 2021. It is a line of Xanthic that, to a lot of people, holds the contrast a lot better. It doesn't brown out nearly as much as the other lines of Xanthic too. And if I could show you, this is, I think, TSK, which is now also black Xanthic. This is a pretty brown snake. That doesn't look Xanthic in my opinion, but it is. I've made black Xanthics and I've made really nice combos with her with other genes added, but in my opinion, that's a, not a very high contrasty line of Xanthic that doesn't brown out. So the MJ line of Xanthic specifically is highly sought after because it does not seem to brown out as much as the other lines of Xanthic do. Therefore, it demands a higher price. The supply is very low, the demand is very high, so the price of those snakes is also higher than the other lines of Xanthic, VPI, TSK included. So on top of that, the line originated in Canada. Markus Jayne, Mark Mandic is from Canada. So that line, when it was founded, was up in Canada. So I think the trickle from Canada down to the USA has been very slow, even though, he founded it in 2008. It's been quite a while, 16 years since that line was founded. It still isn't very widely worked with. I think between me, I think Rich McCall works on this, and now that I see Canova's also working this project as well, I don't think there's a whole ton of breeders that are working on this outside of Canada. Now there are probably more breeders in Canada working MJ than in the USA, but as you know, sometimes importing and exporting can be a little difficult. And the supply on these snakes still isn't very high. So when you combine the fact that the supply of these snakes isn't very high with the fact that they retain their colors a little better than the other lines of Xanthic do, it sort of is a big deal when people keep labeling other lines of Xanthic as lightning pieds. A VPI Xanthic pied is not a lightning pied. A TSK Xanthic pied is not a lightning pied. The moniker was literally given to these snakes by the guy that created it. So if you're mislabeling your snakes whether on accident or on purpose, please do your research. Please rename them. They're not Lightning Pies. Again, I am heavily invested in this project. I have spent a ton of money on it. I have spent 3+ years now producing these snakes. VPIs don't come out looking like this. This is a completely different snake. The contrast on these is exquisite. So therefore, it demands a higher price tag. It's a different, spicy price tag. It's a different animal, completely. So when you're taking other lines of Xanthic and intermingling them, especially because they're not compatible, it kind of dilutes, it does a disservice to the people that are actually working the higher end line. And it could be up for debate whether or not you consider MJ to be a higher end line, but the fact of the matter is that it is a higher end line. Females are still going for $4,000 a piece. Males are still going for $2,500 a piece. Just plain Lightning Pies, MJ Xanthic Pies, whereas VPI Pies, males are like $1,000. That's a big difference. That's 2.5 times the price. They demand that price difference because of the higher quality of the line of Xanthic. So it is a big deal. It's a big deal to the people like me that invest in the line, and it should be a big deal to everybody else out there. I don't understand why. There's the people that don't know the difference. There have been a lot of people that have been led astray because people have been incorrectly labeling their snakes Lightning Pies even though they weren't, even if they were VPI. So then, this misinformation keeps getting spread out, and people unknowingly are thinking they have Lightning Pies when they don't have Lightning Pies. So, spreading the knowledge a little bit to inform people that, hey, this is not what you think it is. And there's also the people that are probably trying to make a quick buck off of saying that they're selling you a Lightning Pied. Not everybody probably goes through the research when they're buying a snake to know the difference between what an MJ Pied and a VPI Pied is and what those price tags are. But if you are a VPI Pied breeder, why would you not ride the coattails of an MJ Pied snake? Why would you not try to get a couple extra dollars by stealing the nickname, the morph combo of this snake? And the one thing I was talking about on my Patreon with people was, everybody knows the Batman as a clown, leopard, spot nose. If somebody else just decided to start, taking a Krypton or a Cryptic and saying, Cryptic or Krypton, leopard, spot nose is a Batman, it would be bad information. It's not the same thing as a clown. It's similar to a clown. It's compatible with clown, but it's not a clown. A clown, leopard spot nose, is a Batman. And this is the same sort of situation. This isn't a phantom versus a mystic where they've been proven to be the same thing. This isn't a banana versus coral glow where they've proven to be the same thing. And it's really not even the same thing as OD and high OD, because they're compatible. Even black pastel and Barnhart, I believe they're compatible as well. Now, they express a little differently, but they're still black pastel. VPI and MJ are not compatible whatsoever. They are completely different genes. So they express completely different. You cannot breed a VPI to an MJ and make a visual Xanthic. You'd have double hets. So it does make a giant difference. So if you didn't know that, hopefully this explained it to you. You need to stop labeling your snakes as Lightning Pies if they're VPIs. And mostly it's VPIs that I see this happening with. I don't really think a whole lot of people work TSK Pies, but I don't think I've ever actually seen a TSK Pied a label as a Lightning. I think it's VPI people for some reason. Probably because it's the most used line of Xanthic in the United States. So, when I bring this up, I seem to have to bring this up every time I end up breeding and producing them, because I start seeing the VPI Lightning Pies circulating more. And I end up having to seemingly get into it with people because they don't like to be told that what they're doing is wrong. And if you're labeling your VPI Pies as Lightning Pies, you are wrong. If you didn't know that, now you do. So correct it. if you're one of those people that chooses to just lump in every single line of Xanthic and Pied as being a Lightning Pied, you're way off the deep end. You have no idea what you're doing, and you're causing a lot of confusion around it. They're not the same things, so stop doing it. And luckily, I do have a Lightning Pied female. She's going into shed, so her colors aren't as contrasty as I would hope, but she's probably one of my better examples of a Lightning Pied. And I do have a VPI Pied as well. So I wanted to show you the difference and why the Lightning Pieds command such a higher price point. So this is one of the girls that produced for me this year. Her name is Storm, and look at that. Yeah, I don't like feeding live. She likes live rats, but she took a big old bite right there. So, you know, that kind of stinks. But so this is what an adult Lightning Pied looks like. Like I said, she's starting to kind of go into shed a little bit. But this is really a silvery color. It's not brown like you would see in the VPI Pieds. It really does hold contrast a lot better, fresh out of shed. These guys look fantastic. But, you know, and then on the flip side, this is what a VPI Pied looks like. Well, this one is very, very low white. But as you can see there, it is very brown. It really browns out as it ages. You know, it's not a very, very, very pretty snake once it gets to adulthood like this. I mean, it's just pretty much all brown. You don't see any of those black tones anymore. You don't see any of that silver kind of contrast on the snake itself. So the reason why the MJ Xanthic line commands such a higher price point is because this is what VPI looks like as it ages. So, you know, Lightning Pieds are a higher end a commodity in the snake world. They are a harder to come by line of Xanthic, and the people that choose to invest in MJ Xanthic and produce MJ Xanthic and work that project should be able to see the benefit of it and also differentiate themselves from the other lines because they are completely different. So hopefully that clears things up for everybody. You know, I hate to keep bringing this up all the time, but I as somebody who's invested years and a lot of money into the project, MJ Xanthic Pied owns the name Lightning Pied. I'm not okay with it being stolen and overgeneralized by people who just don't want to honor what the gene means. It's Markus Jayne's, it's Mark Mandick's gene. It's his combo. It's not the same thing as VPI Pied.